Right, so welcome everyone. Welcome to Brio Digital's Tech for Good podcast. This is our fourth episode now, and we're in person with Chris Russell. How you doing, Chris?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good. So Chris has an extensive head of engineering, director level career for the last 20 years at that level,
Yeah,
Chris?
sounds about right.
Yeah, we're showing our age now after recruitment for 20 years. But we've been a Tech for Good podcast. Chris is currently the head of technology for Tread, which is a green banking platform. And it's based in Leeds as well. So Chris is here to talk about everything Tread. Really interesting platform and a really interesting idea as well to do with sustainability. A fintech sustainable banking platform.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's kind of in the sweet spot of lots of things, really. It was one of the things that attracted me to the role in the first place. But what we're trying to do is create a banking platform that sort of matches the values of our potential customers. So people are very concerned about the environment, and they take that concern into how they choose their suppliers, amongst other things. And we want to be, if you like, the banking supplier of choice for those organisations that are really concerned about the environment.
Right. Is it a business banking account, or is it personal as well?
Yeah, it's a business banking account.
Right. Really. Okay. And how does it work? What's the mechanism behind it?
So there's two major themes to it, really. Firstly is the fact that you can be rest assured that if you bank with Tread, none of your funds will be used to invest in fossil fuels or anything like that.
Right.
Now, it's quite a big surprise to many organisations to understand quite how much their sort of bank balance actually supports fossil fuels, and we can actually measure the carbon impact of your bank balance if it's in like a high street bank, for example.
Right. Okay.
So when you bank with Tread, you don't have to worry about how your funds are used, if they could be used in an unsustainable way. Excuse me.
So is this the banks that will reinvest the money into whatever on the stock market?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And there's a lot of data out there where you can actually put on a carbon impact of your bank balance with one of the high street banks, for example.
Right.
And we can show that to our customers. Our customers can see the carbon savings they're making purely by banking with Tread as opposed to banking with other banks. But the second thing we also do is reflect back at the business the carbon impact of their expenditure.
Well, that's really interesting. So what they're actually spending.
Yeah. So if you use your Tread debit card to go buy, food or whatever,
or a diesel BMW,
or a flight across the world, you'll see on your Tread banking app the fact that had the carbon impact and what that carbon impact was.
Oh, wow.
And that's a good way of, they say what gets measured gets done.
Yeah.
And so if organisations aren't aware of their carbon impact, this brings it home to them very easily, and all they have to do is, bank with Tread.
Right. Okay. So it gives them that kind of management information for them to make better decisions.
Exactly. Right. And, if they have other bank accounts, they can link those as well. So they can see the carbon impact of all their transactions.
Wow, no, that's amazing. Have you got any challenges in this market? Because it seems really unique to me.
I think we're unique in there are other organisations that will help you measure your carbon. There are other organisations that might offer sustainable banking products, but I think we're unique in our sort of all put it all in one place,
right,
and make it very easy for people to use.
Okay. So in terms of the sustainability element, what projects are you supporting? How is it sustainable at Tread?
So it's sustainable because, in ourselves, we're a sustainable company, but we're B Corp, but we also carbon neutral. So we measure our own carbon footprint,
right,
using our own tools and others, and then we offset that. So we're a carbon neutral banking provider.
Right. Okay.
And in the future, we may offer opportunities for our customers to easily offset their carbon footprint as well.
Okay.
So obviously it's better to reduce your carbon than to offset it, but all other things being equal, if that's not possible, then we could make it easy for people just to say, offset this almost by a click of a button.
Right. Okay. So it's a brand new platform from a technology point of view.
Yeah.
Where do you start when you're building a new banking platform, and how do you do it sustainable?
Yeah, great questions. One of the reasons that attracted me to the role in the first place was it's very rare as an engineer you get this sort of blank sheet of paper where
a greenfield project. Sorry,
exactly, very well. And so we looked at obviously all the cloud platforms, both on the aspect of functionality, but also from an angle of sustainability.
Right.
But basically, we went down the serverless route.
Yeah.
Partly because it could grow with us.
Yeah.
Partly because, in my extensive experience of IT projects, it's much easier to combine things than to split them apart. So by splitting all apart into serverless functions, you start off with a very decoupled platform. And also, serverless, as a concept, is the fact that you don't have servers sitting there idly burning electricity, but making carbon, costing money when they're not being used.
Yeah.
So for a brand new platform starting with obviously 0 customers, the serverless cloud-based route was the way we decided to go.
Right. Okay. And is all your programming languages, are they all open source, I presume, as well?
Yeah, we're sort of TypeScript, JavaScript house.
Right. Okay. How have you gone about your recruitment then, in terms of selling the message for traders? It's a very good message, isn't it?
It is, yeah. and this is where this is an advantage of being a tech for good, because we can offer working with the latest and greatest technology. We can offer that, but we can also offer we've got a cause that we want to follow.
Yeah.
And not everybody works for Tread because of the cause, but a good proportion do. And so it's an added attraction to.
Well, engineers are more often than not, quite value driven as a population, from my experience.
Yes, many of our team have come from other projects or that are in sustainability, or they have their own personal projects around sustainability.
Right.
And that creates a great kind of team culture.
Yeah.
The recruitment market has been hot and cold, but when it's
been challenging. How long have you been set up now, Chris, since you've been building it?
So we're coming up to 3 years, if you like, since the first brick was laid.
Right. So imagine the first 18 months were really tricky during that period.
Yeah,
because salaries were through the roof, weren't they? So,
but we did some things like take on boot campers. People who change careers. I think there's always got a great respect for people who take that conscious decision to change their career.
Yes.
And that worked out reasonably well for us. And then build the team around two or 3 core people that could mentor those other team members. So we've done okay, really. Yeah. We've done very well, in fact.
Yeah. And obviously it's a very challenging market now.
Yeah.
Are you coming out of startup phase? Is it often 2 years? You kind of.
Yes, I think so. I think we've got a big product launch sort of early in the new year.
Right.
And we're very confident with the market fit. We've got a good waiting list for the product. And I think that will take us through into the next phase. So in 6 months' time, I think we'll be very much in, hopefully, touch wood, we'll very much be about consolidating, and growing rather than that sort of early build. And
how's it gone down with investors? I'm presuming it's gone down really well, even in challenging times where money isn't as cheap as it once was.
Yeah, I mean, everybody thinks it's a good idea.
Yeah, that always helps, doesn't it? In a challenging market. Yeah.
But what in a challenging investment market, of course, it has to be more than just a good idea.
Yeah,
it has to be monetizable.
Yeah,
and so we had to work hard on that element. To not just about the good cause, but also about the bottom line.
It has to be a business.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so that's probably why it's taken us maybe longer to get to market this product than it would have otherwise done. But I think it's a good thing, because we're very, very confident now, having spoken to potential customers and people on our waiting list, that this is what people want.
So is the platform live yet? Or is it going to be released soon?
Yeah, so without going into too many details, because it's a financial product, it's not just a question of getting the technology ready.
No. Yeah.
So fundamentally, it's the
governance.
Yeah.
Yes.
So fundamentally, the technology is ready.
Yeah.
It's now getting everything else ready and over the line. So
right. Okay.
It'd be good to have a.
When are you expecting to go live?
So sort of early next year.
Early next year.
Yeah.
Right. Brilliant. And how do you see Tread evolving? It looks like the actual core product that you've got now, in terms of the reporting elements, I think that's quite game changing, because you can actually, businesses that are maybe in supply chains, into the public sector, etc., also want to be going for B Corp.
Yeah.
I see that as a really powerful thing, and probably market leading that it's all wrapped up into one.
Yes.
How do you see it evolving?
Well, what we want to become is like an established, trusted brand, so that a bit like people have a B Corp label on their website, they'll also have a sustainable banking logo on their website, and people say, "Oh yeah, that's Tread, that's good."
Yeah.
We also want to sort of build out the kind of carbon reporting we can do.
Right.
And it's still, there's, as you say, in the supply chains, people are asking questions of their suppliers about their sustainability.
Yeah.
What we're hoping to be able to do is almost have a single press of the button where, based on the fact, all the information we have about your company, we can sort of almost do a sustainability carbon report at the press of a button.
Right.
So one of the things we're doing, in addition to looking at your transactional information, you say, okay, how many employees do you have in your organisation? How do they get to work and back? And then we can assess the carbon impact of,
So you can do it whole end to end.
Yeah. So and things like when you make a payment out, you can say whether you're paying for gas or electricity, which has a difference in how your carbon is assessed, whether it's scope 1 or scope 2.
Okay. Are you using every podcast I do, data and AI then for that reporting?
Primarily data.
Yeah.
Maybe AI in the future, but we don't have enough data yet to start,
Doing the algorithms, machine learning, etc.
But one of the aspects is hopefully our customers will interact with the platform.
Yeah.
And that will build upon knowledge of merchants that people shop with. So it's almost like crowdsourcing of information about merchants, because what the information we get is based on what's called MCC codes, which is how a merchant describes themselves.
Yeah.
That is not necessarily accurate, and there are also specific merchants that might be carbon neutral that we'll learn about, so we can modify and make more accurate our assessment based on information we gain, but also information that our clients give us.
Okay. Where do you go for the set standards to be carbon neutral? Is there a central kind of government-led initiative for this, or is it all in the private sector?
There's a number of different initiatives. So there's a standard framework to talk about what's called scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions.
Okay.
So there's a mixture of government research, government figures, academic research, and international standards. So it's a very rich and complex sort of area, which is one of the things we're trying to do is demystify.
Yeah, I was going to say demystify.
Or even you don't need to know about it. Here's the answers. We try and be very open with how we calculate, so that if you look on our website, we'll say this is how we do the calculation. So none of this is perfect.
Yeah.
But as we say, don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Yeah.
And even frameworks that aren't perfect, if you use them consistently, you can still see how improvements are made and reductions are made.
And it seems like Tread might be leading that in a way in the future as well. Do you see yourself becoming as an industry standard for?
But not necessarily an industry standard, but yes, a trusted.
Well, within finance. Yeah.
A trusted model of how to measure a company's carbon footprint.
Right. No, brilliant. You've mentioned B Corp as well, Chris. Yeah. That's something that Brio Digital are also going through at the moment. I think we're about 18 months in.
Yeah.
How do you find that process? What value did you put in it as well? Were you involved much?
I wasn't heavily involved in it, but I think it's like all of these things. It's a bit of a self-examination of the company. So B Corp sort of asks you questions and you have to think of answers. Well, I never thought of that. So again, it's a good way of reflecting how the business is run, what the business does. And that's very much part of what we do at Tread as a culture. We very much like to challenge internally about how we do things and try and improve things.
How do you reinforce tech for good within Tread as a culture? As a culture.
Yeah. So we do things like lunch and learns. So we have someone whose job it is to kind of push the sustainability element of the product, and he'll come back and say, right, this is how we're going to do it. And that means that people can ask questions and challenge. We actually had someone come in externally to talk about packaging. He was actually in charge of sustainable packaging. And that was really interesting because everybody always assumes that packaging is automatically bad. But actually good packaging does reduce the carbon footprint of food, for example.
Yeah.
So it's a complex area. So it's a way of creating an environment where we're always talking about it, or not always, but we keep revisiting it and say, what more can we do? Answer questions about how good or bad different things are.
Yeah.
And then also, what we did once, which was really successful, was we all went and planted trees in the Yorkshire Dales for a day.
Oh, nice.
So that was us not only having a good time, but we learnt why they were planting trees in that particular area, and everybody had a good time. We actually planted 1,000 trees, which can't be a bad thing.
No.
And also kept kind of sustainability in the forefront of our minds, and also things like having a sustainable lens on your supplier recruitment selection.
Yeah.
So it's just having that in your mind about what does this look like, not just through a commercial lens, but through a sustainability lens as well. I
suppose that'll help with employee retention as well, that there is that vision to the company and it's constantly reinforced.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You say not everybody joins Tread because they're interested in sustainability, but after a while they probably are interested in sustainability.
Yeah.
And it does create a good sort of common thing that helps strengthen the culture.
Okay. If there's people that want to understand a little bit more about Tread before you go live, are you guys doing any events or webinars, anything, etc.?
We are doing a few. I can't think of any upcoming, but we do some events around sort of fintech events and stuff like that. But certainly, if you go on our website, tread.earth, you can ask to be put on our waiting list if you're interested in possibly having an account. We have a very clear idea of the product we're going to launch on day one, but always interested to know what other people might like, especially small businesses, in terms of a business banking account or sustainability reporting.
Chris, when you first met Tread, when you left the interview, did you just think, why didn't I think of this? It does sound it's a really simple but effective till right place, right time.
It's one of those things where when I have recruited for Tread, you give them an exercise, around the product, and everybody thinks of new ways of extending it. Everybody can think of, we could do this, we could do that, we could do that. So that the core idea is really, really strong, but it's almost endlessly extendable, and that's what people.
Well, you're inventing a new industry, aren't you? Within an industry, which is, that's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very, very exciting.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant, Chris. This has been a brilliant overview. I've really enjoyed meeting you and talking about Tread. I wish you every success with it. I don't think you'll need my wishes. I think it's a great idea.
Thanks very much.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And thanks for listening, everybody. And stay tuned. We'll be back with some more Tech for Good podcasts soon. Thanks for listening.